Hello and welcome to the No Balls podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today, we are talking about the Charlotte Hornets offseason. We're going to predict what we think their regular season is going to look like. This is episode 9 of 30 teams. We're going to get started. First, Sheldon has a trivia question, Hornets related. What do you have for me today?
All right, Patrick. In 2022, LaMelo Ball in 45 games averaged 19.9 points per game, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds, and was named as a replacement for the All-Star game. He replaced a player in the All-Star game. Patrick, what player did he replace in the 2022 All-Star game?
22. This is like devious era. I think they still divided by East-West in the voting, and then during the game, they made you draft the players, I think, around this time. And my initial thoughts are like, it could be like Kemba Walker, it could be Kyrie Irving. Um, I think that was the year James Harden was sitting out of Brooklyn. And that was the year Ben Simmons was sitting out in Philly and they got traded for each other. So I don't think it would be either of those guys. Other West or East guards around this time.
It doesn't
Kyle
have to be a
Lowry.
guard. It doesn't have to be a guard. Let me
Oh, it
just
doesn't have to be a
I'll,
guard. Oh shit.
that'll be my hint. That'll be my hint for you.
Oh,
So
so it's not a guard is my guess. All right, let's go with Jaylen Brown.
Patrick, you did say the name of the team that this guy was on, but in 2022, LaMelo Ball replaced Kevin Durant in the All Star game. So Brooklyn Nets, you had it with James Harden. You just were one guy over. So had to make it a little harder today.
Jaylen Brown was a bad guess because Jaylen Brown plays, and I was literally like, it's going to be somebody who misses games, and then I didn't guess a player who misses games. So, uh, damn it, that should have been better than it was. All right, Hornets, everybody's favorite team, until they actually have to watch the games. Charlotte Hornets, what is going on with the 2025 Charlotte Hornets? They were 19 and 63, 14th in the Eastern Conference, 20 and 62. Expected record was 29th. They had a minus 9.10 SRS, which is opponent quality adjusted net rating. They ranked 29th in it. They were not good. 12 and 29 at home, 7 and 34 on the road, 13 and 39 pre-All-Star break, 6 and 24 post, 10 and 42 versus the East, and then 9 and 21 against the West. In clutch games, they were 14 and 24 with a minus 6 net rating, not good. Overall, just a really rough season from the Charlotte Hornets. It's, becoming a little bit of a pattern here. Um, I'll let you have the floor first on what you really thought about this season from the Charlotte Hornets in general.
Well, like you said, it was a really rough season. If a number that you can kind of look at is the pre All Star break and the post All Star break numbers. I mean, 6 and 24 is just really, really bad. But they also suffered a lot of injuries. Melo was out for a lot of games. Mark Williams missed a lot of time as well. Brandon Miller went out for the season after looking really promising through couple months, and also Miles Bridges missed a lot of time too. So I mean, this team, just like how it's been for a long time, are just super unable to be healthy, and I think that definitely affected things a lot. Also, some of the guys that they had coming off the bench maybe weren't the most strong, which led to some uncompetitive games. Yeah.
I mean, to say the least, Vasuli Micic started a ton of games at point guard this past season. Um, Even when they were healthy, they're still like an okay team at like the absolute best if you squint with their starting lineup in the game. And then just the injuries, it really felt like it took a toll on Mark Williams too. Like he was in the early parts of his career like a pretty solid rim protector, and then come this season he was pretty bad at rim protecting, and he just had a really rough season. And then I think that Mark Williams' season is like an encapsulation of the entire 2025 Charlotte Hornets. What that looked like on the floor, offensively, a 107.3 offensive rating, ranked 29th, only behind the Washington Wizards. Um,
Oh man.
Wonderful games, right? Um, 28th in turning over the ball. They turn over the ball a ton. 8th in getting offensive rebounds. 23rd in pace. They actually slowed down. Typically, you'll see
Yeah.
these teams be super fast paced, and they've not been super fast paced this past season. Part of that was first year head coach Charles Lee wanting to get them a little bit more under control. I th- we'll see how that plays out with more offensive talent. In isolation this past year, 20th highest frequency. I think that is down from the year before. 13th in efficiency was actually pretty fine. Pick and roll ball handler frequency was still towards the top at second with the worst efficiency in the league. Just putrid, and like it's a staple of bad teams run the pick and roll a ton and usually not be good at it. And Charlotte Hornets were no different. Pick and roll rollers, sixth highest frequency, 25th in efficiency. They were able to find rollers, but I think a large reason their percentages is high here is because their ball handler percentages is higher. They're running the pick and roll a ton because it's simple and young players can understand it, especially coming in and out of the lineup up and down from the G League for a lot of their young guards because they had a ton of them. Yeah, that's pick and roll roller post ups. 13th in efficiency at exactly a point per possession. 2% of the time was 25th. Not a huge part of their offense. They didn't have post up bigs. They didn't post up. 30th in transition efficiency was terrible, and 27th in transition frequency. Also, not what you want to see when you're a pretty bad half court offense. You want to see more transition possessions. Unfortunately, the Hornets did not have that. What stands out to you about this Hornets offense?
Like you said, the pick and roll numbers are crazy. Just like looking at just watching a couple games and stuff, like it's very evident that that's what they like to watch or what they like to do, running that pick and roll. So, I mean, like you said, just a staple of bad teams, and the fact that you keep running it like so much and you're not getting good results like at all. Like you are the worst in the league with the ball handlers, and then near the bottom of the league with the rollers. It's very. I mean, it makes a lot of sense why they're losing so many games because the plays that they're running the most is the ones that they're most inefficient on. It's hard to win games like that. The 23rd in pace is also like a little confused, like not confusing, but it's like surprising to see because like when you think of the Hornets, you think of pace. Like you think about them going with teams and just running up and down the court. And if you want to beat the Hornets, you just got to slow things down, or usually just you're not too worried about the Hornets. But anyways, besides that, like the turnovers are really bad. Yeah, just a rough season offensively for this team. Hopefully, with some of the additions they made in the offseason, we'll see Charles Lee. That's a coach.
Yes.
Yeah, in his second year, actually be able to cook a little bit and not have to run the pick and roll so much.
Yeah, I think the real thing too is like ideally when you're slowing down pace wise, it's to be able to protect the ball better.
Mm,
And they just still weren't able to protect the ball. 28th in turnovers is like that sucks. And a large part of that is LaMelo Ball's obviously contributing to the turnover issues, but when he's not playing, it's like really bad. Like they could have like if they had Tyus Jones, it would have been very good last season, or that would have been huge for them last season. And not a lot of teams could have said that given the season Tyus Jones had a year ago. Um, yeah, I mean they just really need organization, and they absolutely didn't have it. And we'll start to see it more, I would think, as we see regular players. But that was something that we said a year ago, and we didn't get to see organization because there was nothing as far as organization on a day-to-day basis with who was playing. Defensively, equally as bad in some parts, better in other parts. 116.6 defensive rating, was 24th, 22nd in forcing turnovers, 17th in securing defensive rebounds. None of that jumps off the table, but it also just isn't very good. Isolation efficiency, 27th against, or would be like fourth against, I think, but they were the 27th um, team in stopping isolation. Not good. Did not have great point of attack defenders. I guess, luckily for them, teams didn't run it a ton, but the issue is if you look at the percentages, you kind of still want teams to run isolations because the possessions are not efficient. It's so crazy. The Hornets were, um, they didn't have perimeter defenders. Like I said, they didn't have ball handlers. They didn't have perimeter defenders. They also weren't disruptive. It was really rough. Ball handler, pick and roll ball handler efficiency against was 23rd, not ideal. And then efficiency or frequency of that was 16th. So teams did run a good bit of it on them, and did the results are whatever. Um, so you'd like to see a high volume of those allowed, but you would like the quality of the defense to be a little bit better. Pick and roll roller and post ups, they were actually pretty good at defending, being 15th and 17th. Highest volume of post ups against. I think a lot of that is uh, they kind of went out with having a center for like the entire season because Mark Williams didn't play, and then Nurkic. Nobody's scared of Nurkic. Not sure how much he even played for them after he came back. I mean, he did play, but not a ton of time. And then post up frequency was all the time, and then like I said, roller frequency against was 21st. In transition, they were not good at stopping transition. 23rd transition defense, 10th highest frequency. Teams were able to run. They were able to have success when they run. It was unfortunate. What do we think about this Hornets defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the top of the head. No perimeter defenders really hurt them. Um, yeah, no perimeter defenders really hurt them. Allowed the ball handlers just to do whatever they want, as you can see by the PNR ball handler numbers. The roller stuff makes sense to me. I mean, the fact that teams weren't running it a lot because if you kind of see their defense, they play heavy on that drop defense. So it's kind of hard to get in the paint against them when they do that. And then, yeah, I mean, it was bad pretty much everywhere. It looks like. Um, yeah, and transition really hurts. Like when teams are being able to do it so much against you because of how often you're turning over the ball, and like the fact that you can't really get back onto anybody because it's like a young team. They lose people in transition a lot. Um, but yeah, I think obviously the most jarring thing, and probably the thing that they most need to uh, address during this offseason and during camp is the perimeter defense and the ball handling. Because if you can't stop that, like you're going to be at the bottom defense for years and years and years, like they kind of have been.
And I think the thing with them too is like they played small a lot of this season. Like Musa Diabate played a ton of center for them last year. If you look at their power forwards, it's Grant Williams, Miles Bridges. Like they should be able to be a little bit agile. They should be able to be better at defending the pick and roll than they were. Nobody could get over screens was also a big part of it last year. Brandon Miller is more of an off-ball guy, and he was given a lot of on-ball tasks. Josh Green was probably their best perimeter defender throughout the entire season, and not many teams should say that. I don't think that's speaking highly of your team if that's something that you're saying. We'll talk about the personnel that they have now once we get to the offseason. We'll move forward to coaching and scheme. Second year of Charles Lee and Jeff Peterson being the head coach and GM. Assistant coaches Jeff Longstaff, Ryan Frazier, and Lamar Skeeter were ones that I felt like pointing out. Um, Anything point out that you want to jump to here, either with head coaching, assistant coaching, and specifically team scheme?
I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier. Lots of pick and roll stuff. Melo's running the pick and roll uh, with the three shooters around the perimeter. He's either gonna drive or kick out to them. The shooters are kind of stationary, like compared to some other teams I've seen. Like they're not like moving or relocating once the driver comes in. They kind of stay in their area, um, and they're ready to shoot. Like once they get it, they're gonna shoot it. Not a lot of hesitation. A lot of shots early up in the shot clock, kind of what we've seen from young teams. And a lot of off ball screens to kind of get Melo on guys. Melo will kind of start in the corner, and then they'll have one of the wings come over, even Mark Williams or Nurkic come over and set a screen for him to get kind of a more favorable matchup. They do this. They do a couple kind of the thing that they did with Shea and get Shea to screen someone to get on someone to get a better matchup. They would do that with LaMelo as well. And then they set some off-ball screens to get the centers open at some times. But overall, just pretty simple offense, kind of like how we talked about a lot of pick and roll stuff. Just because there's not a lot of consistency with the lineups, there's a lot of guys in and out.
Yeah, I think they do a good job getting like Miles Bridges opportunities to get the ball moving, or get the ball on the move. Whether that's coming off of handoffs, even though they don't have guys to run a ton of handoffs, or if that's coming off of off-ball screens from the corner on zoom action, they do that a little bit. And they have uh, skilled position players out there. It's just like or players whose game is centered around their offensive skill, even if they don't have an overall great um, amount of skill on the floor compared to other NBA teams. They do like positional skill, and that's something we expected with Charles Lee coming from Boston, and from a team that prioritized space, ball movement, and then in Boston, I think we talked about their lack of pace that Charlotte had this past season. That was like a key in Boston was how frequently they would post up, specifically with wing players. They still don't really have the wings to do that here in Charlotte, but I think that's something that we could see start to carry over within a couple of moves, or a couple of transition or transaction cycles. Um, they're kind of still in the beginning spots of a rebuild, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. You ready to move forward?
Yeah.
Uh, All right, draft summary. They did the greatest thing of all time. Charlotte typically likes to stick close to Charlotte with when they draft players. They did it with Mark Williams. They did it three times in this draft, taking uh or I guess twice with Concanipple and Sion James from Duke, and then they took three white players in the draft. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't know if that's ever been a great draft strategy. However, the Hornets have done it all the time, specifically under Michael Jordan. Um, where do we want to start here?
We can start with the number one guy, Con Knipple. I think think that's definitely a place to start. A lot of guys were available at this spot, namely Ace Bailey, uh, but they ended up going with Concanippo, and I think for good reason, Pat. This is one of the best mechanic shooters in the draft, really nice mechanics, and just a really good shooter overall. A sniper, as some may say, 40% from the 3 point line at Duke last season. And that's at 14 on. He also had 14.4 points per game, and he's also not that bad at getting to the rim. Pat, he's really crafty and uh, crafty getting to the rim. Like you wouldn't think this 6'6" unathletic white guy would be able to get there, but he's able to get down there. Has good finishes, floaters, and also just really crafty around the rim with his layups. And he's also a decent connective playmaker. Not really a guy that's going to go out there and give you like 5 assists per season, but he's going to be a guy that's going to make the right pass every time and find his open teammates. Uh, yeah, I think the biggest thing that you have to worry about here is like we kind of talked about no perimeter defenders. They don't really have like a really good two-way wing that can guard multiple positions, except for like Josh Green, who like he's great at defense, but they could have maybe try to get a little something else. But I think that's just the biggest worry on Concanepal right now is how is the defense going to be on the ball. But I mean, they got one of the best shooters in the draft, top 5 shooter in the draft. So Charlotte fans have a lot to be excited about with this kid.
Yeah, when we talked about their pick, we were like, none of the best players available like are good fits at all with Charlotte. With Concaniple, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson were the three names off the board. None of them really had great fits with Charlotte. Um, and even if you extend that, like you get to like Colin Murray Boyles, who went ninth overall as the first guy who would like be a good team fit with the Charlotte Hornets, who could at least bring you something defensively. Concanipple was the best player on the board, and Charlotte thought so. A lot of other people thought so. Conkinipple's like an amazing shooter. He's like a 41% on 5 attempt shooter. He's really good. His one, I think, deficiency on that part is he doesn't shoot off the dribble yet. I think we'll see that more in the NBA as he's coming off of ball screens. Um, Probably not an isolation 3-point shooter or scorer in general, but I think he can shoot off ball screens. I think off the catch, he had a like super big tendency to attack hard off the catch, and that's why I'm not super concerned about not taking off the dribble 3-point attempts because he's getting to the rim off the catch rather than shooting pull up jump shots. And I think he just has a really good understanding of what efficient basketball is. Um, he had like the most ridiculous efficiency numbers of all time for like a 19-year-old freshman after his teammate Cooper Flag. And like he's like such a good passer too. Like he um didn't have to do a ton of on-ball passing, but yeah, he was efficient passing the ball as well. I think he had averaged under 2 turnovers and was like 3.5, 4 assists a game last year in college. And he's a great lob passer, which is just a weird part of his game. I think he's fine. I think he'll tread water defensively, which is not what you want to hear with Charlotte because they desperately need somebody to play defense on their team, but he can shoot the ball, he can play on the ball, he can play off the ball. He's really smart playing off the ball as well, like relocating and moving around. I think he's like going to be a great player. And I did you think he was better than Ace Bailey? I think you're muted.
I think right now, but I don't know. I don't know. I think Ace has a higher ceiling.
I
I
think so
think so
too.
too.
Speaking of
Speaking of
that
that
ceiling,
ceiling, what
what were players that we came to think about for Concanipple as potential comparisons?
A name that came to mind was Bogdanovich, uh, the sniper from 3, and that could also get to the basket. Uh, and yeah,
I
I
came
came
away with Bojan Bogdanovic, more of a wing player, and then as like a much higher outcome, I was thinking the Chris Middleton. It would look like Chris Middleton or like Desmond Bain like where he's a great shooter and that kind of is the driving part of everything, and he's a decent on-ball scorer and a decent passer as well. I think his upside was really underrated just by how low of a floor he has. People inversely assume that there's not much ceiling. I think he was a low floor player who has like low end all star ceiling. I really like Concanipple as a prospect. Um, do you want to go to it? Where do you want to go next? Because there's a ton of places to go.
let's go with a guy I really like in the draft that they got later on in their picks with Ryan Kalkbrenner. I really like this. He's super big. I think 7'1", 19 points per game last year at Creighton. 19.2 points per game last year at Creighton. 8.7 rebounds. 65% from the field, and he shot at 34% from the 3 line with 2.7 blocks. He's an elite rim protector, Pat. This is like he just eliminates shots with his length and size. Um, That's another one of his strengths is the size. Really nice finishing ability around the paint. Uses his size to finish with layups and also can get up to the rim a couple of times. Uh, and also, a thing that you should really look for is the stretch ability that he has. 34% from three last year. Big guy that can shoot is really going to help with the spacing. They didn't have that last year at the center position, so it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do with him.
Yeah, just off of a quick glance, I was like, he played 5 years in college. He's got to be up there in like blocks, total blocks, and he's top 30 all time in blocked shots. He's 29th. Um, Ahead of, let's see, like who are some good players that he's ahead of? He's right behind Shaquille O'Neal. Um, he's and a large part of this is because he played so much. Um, Ahead of Dikembe Mutombo, ahead of Marcus Camby, Emeka, oh not Emeka Okafor, but he is probably ahead of Emeka Okafor, just not near him. Would be Emeka Okafor. You know, just like he was very productive in college. I think there's a chance for him to shoot the ball in the NBA. I had him as like a top 25-ish player in this draft. I was like, he's just gonna stick and like be a solid player. He's like he reminds me of Luke Cornett. Um, Kind of just stick it at that. He could shoot, he could not shoot. He's also a good post scorer in college. Like I think that's worth noting that like if he needs to expand his game in the big game, he can do it. We'll just have to see if he actually does it. And I think at the very least, like he's going to be tall and has an understanding of how to utilize his height. Um, yeah, I mean, anything else on Kalkbrenner, even a name or two that came to mind?
I thought, I mean, a less mobile Miles Turner is kind of what came to mind. Lead
Hmm.
rim protector that can shoot a little bit from three. Maybe not. I don't know if he'll shoot it as good as Miles Turner can, but I think he'll definitely be able to stretch the floor and bring that elite rim protection.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kalkbrenner is really like he has a good chance to shoot and a good chance to be a post scorer, and he's so tall as well. And like so, I don't know what his arms measured in at, but I would imagine they are also quite long. McNeely or Sion James, where do we go next?
We can go to McNeely. Uh, you want me to go?
Yeah,
Go with
go
him.
ahead, talk about the Yukon product.
Yeah, so 14. This is a very interesting prospect with Liam McNeely. 14.5 points per game last season, 6 rebounds, 2.3 assists. He's known as a shooter, and he's a very good mechanics, very good shooter. But he only shot 30% last year in college, and he really struggled. Like it was kind of um, UConn struggled as a team in general, and all, like he was just asked to take a bigger role with because he was really the guy on that team besides like Solo Ball and there's another name I'm missing, but so I
Caravan.
think Caravan, yeah, Caravan. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, but I mean, really great mechanics. He's a good off ball scorer and a really smart playmaker. A guy that sees the floor well and can make good passes. Another guy that can't really play the best defense at the wing position, so we'll see how that works out as well. But I like McNeely a lot because I think that the 3 point shot is going to work this year in the NBA. I think that it was just an off year for him last year, and the mechanics are there for the kid. So
Yeah, like tall shooters, because he is like 6'8", typically just like end up filling an NBA role. Like, will he be much better than Matt Ryan? We'll see. But I think that's like the floor of him. I don't, he might be a slightly worse shooting, better all around game version of like Matt Ryan, and then like maybe he could still like Kevin Herter. Um, I think if like his all around game fills out, then he's like Kevin Herter a little bit. But yeah, he can shoot the ball. I think there was a foot injury within the season. Um, we'll have to see. I didn't have McNeely very high, but I was not against them taking him 29th overall. This was the pick they traded Mark Williams for after the league like kind of knew Mark Williams was cooked a little bit. We'll just have we'll have to see. I mean, they're prioritizing shooting. We'll talk about Sion James as well. Sion James is a physical defensive player. I think he measured in around 6'4", like 200 and like 230 pounds. Okay, well they didn't have him as that heavy, but he plays like it. He was only around 190 pounds. Um, he shot 41% from three a year ago. Shot the from the free throw line very good. He was a senior at Duke, or like a super senior at Duke. Great defensively, like played previously at Tulane and was a little bit more of an on-ball player. Played a ton of minutes at Tulane. I think he's just going to be a guy who can shoot the ball a little bit and will go out there and try to just be physical and play defense. And then another thing about Sion James is he's like a great character guy. So you take a bet on that type of guy, 33rd overall, especially because you needed some damn defense on this roster. Um, you have anything else on Sion James?
No, I think you said everything I wanted to. So
I mean, he's like insert, you know, wing player off the bench here. That's what
yep.
he is. It might get to like Dylan Brooks category, second round wing. Maybe it's Jalen Wells. We'll just have to see. Um, Trades and free agents, we'll talk about them. Colin Sexton, they traded for Yusuf Nurkic. They actually got a second round pick in that trade, as we talked about. I think you have to take that if you're Charlotte. Way to go. Mason Plumlee, they have to get a Plumlee brother every year. So they signed him to a vet minimum. Spencer Dinwiddie is on a vet minimum. Pat Connaughton, they received him in a salary dump. They got picks, or like I think 2 second round picks to take on that Pat Connaughton contract from Milwaukee to allow them to sign Miles Turner. Yeah, this was an off season for them. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was super duper good, but they did get Colin Sexton, who's fine, and Plumlee and Dinwiddie can fill in roles. I'm pretty sure they're going to cut Connaughton. Um, what do you think about these additions for the Charlotte Hornets?
Yeah, they're definitely interesting. Like you said, it was an off season, but I mean I do definitely like some of the moves. I think the Colin Sexton trade is very good, especially that you got a second round pick with him for Nurkic. 18.4 points per game, 4 assists last season. Shot it really well from the three, 40% from the three, Pat. And Colin Sexton's going to bring that energy on defense. So I think that maybe can shift the culture a little bit from those guards in Charlotte, and maybe they try a little bit harder on defense. Who knows though? Um, the Dinwiddie contract or the Dinwiddie signing is also good. You get that veteran presence there. 11 points per game. Shot okay from the 3 point last season. But a guy that can go and facilitate the ball and get to the rim. Yeah, I mean, a lot of good trades to get the depth up. I think the Colin Sexton one is probably the most impactful out of these. The Mason Plumlee one, I think I'd rather see Kalkbrenner out there than Mason Plumlee and Pat Connaughton. Even though he did drop 43 points in a game last season, I don't know how serviceable he'll be able to be for this team.
Yeah, that was against Philly, I think. Way to go, Philly. Unless they just caught a random trade, but they kind of deserve it from last season. Um, Colin Sexton will at least like bring some damn energy, and hopefully encourage people to play defense. Because if Colin Sexton can play hard on defense, even though he's not good at it, please, you guys who are 6'6", please try on defense. Because Colin Sexton's trying his ass off, and he's 6'2" and can't really do anything about what's going on. But yeah, I mean, he shot the ball really well the last 2 seasons. He can at least like get to the rim consistently. Plumlee and Dinwiddie, I'm assuming are depth signings. I don't think they'll be like huge rotational pieces, but maybe they're gonna probably get some playing time given the weakness at the center position on this roster, and LaMelo Ball's going to miss his requisite 35 games this season. Yeah, I mean Sexton, like it's like a prime scenario for them to like get him and flip him in a year or two, like they did with Terry Rozier. Um, After like 5 years though with Terry Rozier, so maybe Sexton's here for the long haul. We're not sure yet. Um, but like low risk, not much upside with anything except the Sexton move. It might net you a couple second round picks. It already has net them one. Notable losses. Mark Williams is really scared about these losses. With him, Josh Okogie, who's currently unsigned. Mark Williams goes to the Suns. Seth Curry, Taj Gibson, really were holding the team together. They are currently unsigned. Yusuf Nurkic is on the Jazz, and Wendell Moore Jr. is unsigned. Um, None of these are huge. None of them were in the long-term plans, except Mark Williams, but they traded him for the 29th pick. Everything here's fine. Um, you see otherwise.
Uh, no, I mean Mark Williams, like it hurts a lot because Mark Williams is a damn good center in the NBA. 15 points per game, 10 boards, but I just the health problems, like it just wasn't working out in Charlotte. Like it was time to let him go, and the fact that you got a first round pick for him, and now you have a young wing that can shoot the ball. I don't think you're too upset about that. And you also brought in a center to maybe kind of combat some of that things. I'm not going to say Ryan Kalkbrenner is going to come in there and be as good and effective as Mark Williams will. Probably will take him 3 or 4 years before he gets to that level. But like I said, like this is a team where I think that was the right move. I'm not like mad at any of these. I don't think they did a bad job of letting any of these guys go. I think all of them. I think Mark Williams is the only one that you're really like upset about, and it's justified. So I think that they did a good job.
I'll say this: I would expect Ryan Kalkbrenner to be better than what Mark Williams was a year ago.
Hmm.
However, the year prior to that, Mark Williams was actually like good. He didn't play much that year, and the year before that, he was actually good. He also didn't play much that year. It's probably going to be a net positive
Yeah.
going from Williams to Kalkbrenner.
Oh,
Like,
100%. Yeah.
and that's really good. At the end of the day, we want net positives. Here's Spot Track. Big thing of note here, if you look here in the top 21 players, that's why I'm very sure that they're gonna cut Connaughton, who is right here. No much further into the years will he be getting money. I think there's a chance they cut Tijon Salon a year after drafting him. We'll
That's
see. I'm
crazy.
confident Daquan Jeffries won't be on the roster because his money's non-guaranteed. Like they have to cut down this roster like actually a lot. There's not that much real money on it. There's Miles Bridges, and LaMelo Ball. And then Josh Green and Grant Williams also are like making real money. Not a ton of it, but they're making money. Um, Brandon Miller, rookie contract, they'll buy into that. Same with Knipple. Those guys will probably stick around for a long time. Other than that, clean books. Hopefully in a year or two, as we'll see. Cap space next offseason, or yeah, cap space next offseason will be a round of max slot, which is quite great for them. Following that, in the years following, two max slots, almost three. They're gonna have flexibility. Like they're gonna hopefully be able to spend one of those years taking on bad contracts for assets and hopefully continuing to build these things up. Um, Charlotte Hornets are in an okay place contractually. Um, Lineup data. Oh wow. Okay. Second year in a row, we're doing when LaMelo and Ball and Brandon Miller played together for 20 minutes of the year. They were okay. Team was terrible, minus 9.3, 0.2 or 1.2 net rating when LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller shared the floor. I believe it was like for 500 minutes. Uh, Sheldon, as you can tell, I flipped this on you. There were two players last season who played 200 or more minutes and had a positive net rating for the Charlotte Hornets. Who do you think they were?
They just play. Oh, they played 200 plus minutes. Oh, damn. I'm gonna go. Damn. I really Trey Man. Does he qualify? I don't even know if
He
he
does
qualified.
qualify, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So I'll go Trey Man. I'm gonna go Trey Man and damn. I'm really trying to think about like someone that could. I'm gonna go Diabate. We'll go Diabate and Trey Man.
See. Oh, wait. Why did it go backwards? What?
Oh no way! Is it Okogie and
Grant,
Grant Williams?
Josh Okogie and Grant Williams were the only,
Oh,
unless
I was
I've
gonna, I was gonna say Okogie too. That's crazy.
yeah,
That's
so like
crazy.
the two most random players you could have really thought of, they were net positives on the Hornets, because they actually played defense and yeah, like when or Grant Williams was on the floor last year. Keep in mind these guys were not high. The Grant Williams played 400 minutes and Okogie I believe played like 200. Yeah, Kogi played 234. They were at least fine defensively with a 109 defensive rating with Kogi on the floor. They were only a +1, and then when Grant Williams was on the floor, they were a point .9 plus point .9, and they were actually really good offensively with a 116 or a 117 offensive rating with Grant Williams out there. So I don't know if there's anything to really dig into there. It's just they were super bad. Here's the new lineups. We'll probably have a lot to talk about here. I ended up writing down LaMelo, Concanipple, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and then Musa Diabate. Um, I can be talked into going a ton of different ways with this. What do we think?
I mean, honestly, I think I'm on the same page. Yeah, I'm on the same page. The only thing I would probably change is putting Brandon Miller at the two, but I like this
Yeah,
lineup. Yeah, I mean, same. It's like the same. Yeah. So I mean, I like this lineup a lot, and you have some like actual. I was gonna say like a kind of fancy word, but I don't think it's in there. I can't think of the way to put it. But you have a decent second bench unit, at least something that like can not won't like put you 20 points out of the game by the time the starting lineup comes in, or most of the starting lineup guys come in, and I don't think they really had that. Um, Josh Green was a starter last year for them. Colin Sexton was a starter for the Jazz, and Dinwiddie and Sexton, both guys that can lead a second unit. And it's gonna be fun to watch Kalkbrenner. I think that's the guy I'm most excited to watch out of this Hornets draft class. I don't know. I just for some reason I have a feeling. Hopefully Liam McNeely, he looks really happy in that picture. So hopefully he has a good season. But I like this lineup a lot. Um, I think it's not too shabby except for on defense. It should be an adventure.
no, that's Big Con right there, smiling because LaMelo will pass him the ball hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really not sure how I've seeing this roster now shape up together. They have a ton of ball handlers with Dinwiddie, Nick Smith Jr., Trey Mann, and Sexton, like all probably being bench players. I think you have to start Knipple because you invested the fourth overall pick in him, like just now. Um, what do we think about this roster in general?
Like in context to what? Are they a good are you saying are they a good roster or
Yeah, just yeah. Are they good? Do we think the roster makes sense?
I I like the fit of it. You got three wings out there with Lamelo, three guys that can shoot the ball and also drive with Bridges and Miller can get to the basket. Diabate is a good big. We saw it last year. So I think as far as fit goes, I think the fit's pretty good. As far as how good of a team do I think this is going to be? Like, I mean, I still see him as like maybe looking outside of the 10th seed or a 10 seed team. It's hard, but I don't know. I don't see them being too competitive. I don't know how how healthy they'll be able to be, and even when they are healthy, like how good are they? Kind of like what you just asked me, though. But I guess I'll say like a middle of the pack. I mean, this is going to be a team that's going to be a little worse than middle of the pack, probably 20th ranked in a lot of statistics. I'll say they'll be best case scenario is like they'll be fighting for that play in spot, but I mean, this is looking like a lottery team probably again. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, what we fail to see is we have LaMelo Ball on this team who would have led the Pacers to the finals. So, um, clearly sarcastic. But like they could be a good offense, I think. I don't think they're going to be able to stop anybody on defense. Because like their best point of attack defender is Brandon Miller, and Musa is a good rebounder. He's not a great rim protector. I think they're going to still struggle on defense still,
Oh yeah,
and
100%.
I think they could be a good offense, and if they are, it's going to be very Celtic coded, where they're just going to get a ton of threes up. Um, but they could be decent offensively, and they have depth this year for when LaMelo Ball misses 30 games, so it could be all right. Like the offense could be fine. Core questions we've already got there. Did they improve this offseason? Yeah, they won 19 games last year. It's hard to set themselves up to be on paper worse than 19 games. So that's what I'm gonna say. What do we think?
100% agree, Pat. They improved. This could be a competitive team next year.
Yeah, setting themselves up better for the future. I think yes, they took on assets to take Colin Sexton. Um,
I
they
think,
took on assets to get Connaughton as
yeah,
well. They didn't lock themselves into paying Mark Williams a ton of money just to keep him when there's literally no idea what he's gonna be at all. And then yeah, they're stuck in on that LaMelo Ball contract, which is gonna be really rough when he doesn't play games again. But when he plays games, it'll look reasonable. They're set up fine. Like I said, the cap sheets are clean, especially when Miles Bridges is off the books. So, offensive MVP for them. Unless you have a different answer for did they set themselves up better for the future?
no.
Okay.
LaMelo Ball, I think, is the offensive MVP. Um, he's going to be vying for another All Star spot. He's going to put on an All Star campaign at the first half of the season, and I mean, Lamelo is super fun to watch, like individually, just like score, because he does it in the most random ways. Probably the most unethical hooper, but he's fun to watch.
I feel like the conversation is that he's the most ethical hooper because he like jumps away from contact
Oh,
and
okay.
doesn't shoot free throws.
Oh, okay. Maybe I don't know what the definition of ethical is.
Well,
Anyways, yeah, Lamelo is my offensive MVP for sure.
I'm trying to think of the word like um practical, the least practical hooper
Yeah,
is probably the move. Um because ethical hooper or unethical hoopers are like they hate like Joel Embiid because he flops and gets a ton of free throws.
yeah,
And
and
like
Shea.
LaMelo Ball like doesn't flop at all. He
Yeah,
runs away from that contact. You got it. But yeah, he's my offensive MVP as well. Like his passing's super good. Um, makes audacious passes consistently. He'll probably average 12 a game next year because they can shoot now. And yeah, that'll be really fun. Defensive MVP for them. What do we think?
I guess I'll go Josh Green, but I don't. I mean, I really don't know who to pick on this team.
My answer is the rim
Yeah, maybe
or like the out
Kalkbrenner.
of bounds line,
Yeah, I don't know.
the
It's
shot
rough.
clock.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like I don't know. They'll probably be the worst defense. We haven't seen all the teams, but they have like very little as far as a defensive eco structure. Even if I think like Conkinable and Brandon Miller are going to be fine on defense, I don't. Neither of them can take primary assignments. Neither of them should probably be taking secondary assignments, and they're going to take primary assignments.
Yeah,
And they don't have a rim protector behind them, and Miles Bridges is their four. So it's going to
I'm
be rough. And
screwed.
then X factor for me, I think I have one. I'll let you go first, and I think I have one that like is really big for them.
Okay. Uh, I'm gonna go Brandon Miller. Like we saw what he did last year before he got hurt, and I think that if he can continue to do that, like that gives them like a really strong third and possibly second scoring option over Miles Bridges. But like if he can do what he did last year, um, I think that that helps their offense a lot. It takes a lot of pressure off of Lamelo Ball and also Miles Bridges. So yeah, I'm gonna go Brandon Miller, and maybe he also helped pick some things up on defense too. 21 points per game before he got hurt. So I mean, if he can continue that, that's second on their team. So I think Brandon Miller is my X factor. Hopefully, he comes back good from that injury.
I agree. I think an underrated deficiency of their team is that Musa's not a good screener, and he's their center, and he's also their rim protector, and he's not a good rim protector. If Kalkbrenner's good day one, him and Musa might start, and they'll end up benching Bridges. And I think that could make them better offensively and defensively. Even though Bridges is like he's fine offensively, he's not bad offensively by any means. Kalkbrenner can be a screener or a roll option. They don't really have either of those. And he can also be like kind of doing like could potentially do like a budget, not a budget, but a watered down Jazz Gobert impression where like there's nothing good going around them perimeter defensive wise, but screw it, Kalkbrenner's in the paint and Musa can get rebounds from the four position and kind of just be tasked with wrecking havoc on defense rather than being your main rim protector. And they could like sneakily look more respectable defensively in those minutes. And then I think Kalkbrenner like might have the potential to shoot day one too, and it probably wouldn't sabotage their spacing by playing Musa at the four if that happens. For that reason, Kalkbrenner is my X factor because if he's good day one as a rim protector, shooter, and roller, like they could actually make the play in if that happens. Um, the East plan is not a high bar. It's like a really like a historically low bar. The 8th seed will probably have like 34 wins, or
Or the
the 10
10
seed.
seed.
But that's what I think they could be. Other than that, is there any other Charlotte Hornets um, comments, concerns, complaints, trade proposals? What do we have?
I'm just gonna go ahead with a quick prediction slash yeah, we'll say it's a prediction. Wizards are gonna win the series, the season series, and probably sweep them and stake more claim in the rivalry. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Wizards Hornets young core propaganda was running wild during the summer.
Yeah, they were. It was crazy.
um, as you can guess, both of us were on Team Wizards. Sheldon being the Wizards fan, me uh, liking players who play games and play defense, which the Wizards also didn't have, but the Hornets have like negative defense guys. So as their young core specifically. So yeah. Other than that, this should just be a Hornets season again. Um, Long term, what do we think about the fit of LaMelo Ball with this team?
Man, if you kind of give him the Trey Young treatment where you put some defense around him, I feel like it could be fun. Um, I think that unless they get something like a real team around him within the next 2 years, not including this one, I think he had a little bit longer left on that contract when he showed it on when we went onto the books page. And it might be like I don't know. Right now, it's not looking bright. I think that Lamelo should probably either try to get out of there. The Hornets might trade him when they blow the stuff up. I don't know. What do you think, Pat?
I kind of think they've been trying to trade him, and they haven't been
Really,
able to.
really,
Because
really? Dang.
yeah,
Like I
I
feel like a
don't
lot of
think that
teams would be calling about Lamelo.
I think the I think teams would like LaMelo Ball, but he doesn't play. The team next to him needs to be built such a specific way, and he's already making like a ton of money. So it's been really hard for them to move him, I think. I think the window was a couple years ago before Peterson was in the decision making chair. And as soon as he got there, he was like, I want to probably move this guy, but the value's just not there right now. So, and like you look at the team, it's just like not built around his strategies. They haven't drafted with LaMelo Ball in mind, really, I don't think, for a while now. So, um, I mean, it's rough whiffing on the Tijon Salong pick because that could have maybe saved LaMelo Ball being here, but I think they'll end up moving him within the next like year or so, to the Wizards, for Alex Sarr and a second round pick, uh, and that'll send Twitter crazy because the two forces have united. I don't really see the team now that San Antonio has Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox. I thought that was kind of the team that would get LaMelo. Yeah, Indiana does need a better point guard than Tyrese Halliburton, apparently. But they're not going to find it with LaMelo Ball. And it's enough dunking on LaMelo. He's a top 10 point guard regardless. Um, hey, maybe Portland comes calling. We'll see. Um,
True holiday for Melo, straight up.
no, no, scoop for LaMelo
Ooh, I like that.
to
That'd be
team him up with Brandon Miller.
really. Oh God.
Um, so the Hornets really get to see who the best player was. Regardless, next episode will be in a couple of days, like I always say, and it will be the Atlanta Hawks. And that would complete this division, the division of hell.
Hey,
The
there should be two teams in it fighting for real playoff chances.
Yeah, maybe three. We talked about the Heat the other day, and like I was actually a little swung on them when without the Doomsday lineup in, the Heat were actually solid. So, yeah, we'll see you guys with the Atlanta Hawks.